We are hoping that, besides for us, I'm a private sector, so we are hoping that the government would look into getting our employers to be having some increase in the basic minimum wage, you see, for us, you see, or if not, at least help us out by, getting the prices to be controlled or reduced.
Hello and welcome to Marcus Today with me, Lukman Haris. And yes, Budget 2018 looms just around the corner. Much talk and debate has been centered around the budget for the past several weeks. What can we expect? And how will we, Asra Awani, bring the budget to you this year? Asra Awani's junior editor Najib Arif joins me today. He will be in charge of bringing you the budget come Friday the 27th. Najib, first of all, what can we expect this year?
I think the first thing that we should look at is in my point of view, the closest or the big thing is the cost of living. But I want to talk about entrepreneurship first, because I think this is one of the topics and important topics, because this has been announced by the Prime Minister, I think, a few days ago, that he said there will be some good news for entrepreneurs, especially for rural entrepreneurs, because they said that we need to boost these entrepreneurs, especially in rural area, to become the global players. So I would expect, or we would expect, that a lot of incentives would be given out, especially for development programs, especially because according to the data that we have, for the first 2 years of the 11th Malaysian plan, 253.68 million ringgit was allocated to implement entrepreneurship development program. So we still have 3 years to go for the 11 MP. And I think a lot of budget will be put forward for the development programs for entrepreneurship that will be announced by the Prime Minister in the budget. I think the focus would be on the SMEs, because as we know, the SME is the backbone of our economy, 99%, consists of 99%. And the figures that we want to achieve by 2020 is actually 23%. Current figures is actually 17.6% export.
Yes, I would like to touch a bit about SMEs because they are intertwined with talking about empowering normal citizens to become entrepreneurs. 2017 so far has been touted as the year of the SMEs and also startups, but I must say that has not truly been visible so far this year. So how can the budget fix this or repair this and make it better?
Yeah, I think in terms of the programs and in terms of the focus for the SMEs and also the development programs would be on the digital platform, because as we know that what was announced by the Prime Minister himself is I think the famous one and the renowned one is the DFTZ, the collaboration between our government and also the Alibaba. The FTZ will be, I think, will be announced by the Prime Minister. I mean, officially announced by the Prime Minister later this month, or I think the coming few days, if I'm not mistaken. The FTZ is the focus for, because I met Dr. Sri Mustafa earlier today, and he said that he needs approximately 1,500 entrepreneurs, and some of them are Bumiputras. And these entrepreneurs should be put under the FTZ, and their focus should be on digital, especially e-commerce. So we need to push them to embark on e-commerce in order for them to penetrate to other markets, especially the low-hanging fruit, the ASEAN market.
But we've seen so far, especially for significant portions of the developing of the DFTZ, the Digital Free Trade Zone, big, huge multinational companies are coming in. You've got your Alibaba and companies like that coming in to compete and to bid for the tender to these projects. So how do we ensure, how does the government ensure that small Malaysian companies and entrepreneurs do not lose out to these big players?
No, I think there will be, because it will have some sort of when you do a certain project, it will have like chain effects, like domino, right? So I think this would give or open up new opportunities for our local vendors, especially for local entrepreneurs. We've seen this for many years already. When we open a new markets or segments or industry, a lot of new businesses actually, booming, and a lot of local businesses and local entrepreneurs can actually set up their business. We have all this expertise. I've met Magic before. A lot of young entrepreneurs, they are very keen into digital platform kind of entrepreneurship and also businesses. For instance, the latest one in Malaysia, this is not very new in the world, but in Malaysia we're still, we're still going towards it. of what we call the social entrepreneurship. This is also one of the focus, I think. This is also falls under the digital platform actually, on how for you to have a digital platform for social entrepreneurship, and also at the same time to have a good business model, so that at the same time you have a good business, and at the same time you tackle any social issues in the country. I think this would be the focus as well.
We'll talk about SMEs.
Yeah.
This is from our point of view, but
Yes.
you also produce and anchor a program called Niaga Kini, which focuses a lot on SMEs. Maybe you can just share with us, in your experiences, talking to them, interviewing them, what do they say they want to see in this upcoming budget?
Of course, because actually I have two programs. Niaga Kini is the most because I met a lot of SMEs through Niaga Kini actually. So a lot of entrepreneurs, they said that the main challenge for them is still the financing, actually, financing segment. I think the financing segment, because we've seen a lot, even the Bank Negara announced the cooling measures, and this eventually impact them and all that. I think there needs to be certain measures on how to balance it out, so that they still get the loan, and at the same time, the cooling measures still, taking, still achieve whatever target set by the Bank Negara. So I think the main challenge for SME right now is still the financing, but the second one would be the new industry. They need new expertise. So this new expertise we still some sort of lacking in terms of expertise, because of few factors, such as brain drain, for instance. Because a lot of new or young graduate, they tend to work overseas due to the wages and salary perks and all that. So these are the main challenges, I would say, for the new industry, under SMEs, such as the social entrepreneurs, for instance, or the digital platform, or the digital businesses, for instance. So they need expertise, which, according to some businesses which I met, some sort of lacking right now.
These are lacking, and they hope that this will be addressed in the upcoming budget.
Yes, correct.
We'll come back and we'll talk more about what to expect from Budget 2018 with Najib Arif, as Rawani, Junior Editor, The Markets Today. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. It's that time of the year again. Budget 2018 is looming around the corner. In what has been a very interesting economic landscape for the past 1 year, many are anxious to see the policy directions the government will take to steer the country for the next 1 year. Naturally, some key issues are being closely monitored by the public at large: the rise in the cost of living, GST, monetary aids, education, infrastructure, and many more. Players in the private sector have also weighed in with their wish lists. Telcos hope for more allocation for the provision of high-speed internet. Banks hope for more empowerment for Islamic finance. And property developers hope for looser regulations and taxation to decrease their construction costs. How will the government address key issues in this year's budget? So far throughout the year, we've seen the government made the best out of a challenging global economy. The public now awaits to see the government's direction to steer the country towards the goal of becoming a developed, high-income nation by 2020. And indeed, we're still discussing about the Budget 2018, which is just around the corner, in fact, 2 days away. And Najib Arif is still with me. He's Asra Awani's Junior Editor. Najib, you talked about the budget, especially from an SME and entrepreneurship standpoint. And before the break, we talked about enabling SMEs, especially on the digital platform, to digitalize our SMEs. But in doing so, do we face a whole new set of challenges? For example, taxing and things like that. We need to start figuring out a tax structure for online businesses. So in this upcoming budget, what do you expect in terms of this?
I think in terms of the new measures will be put forward by the government, depends on the industry itself, because now we've seen a lot of the administration, especially the Prime Minister, he is really keen into digital platform and all that. So I think there will be a lot of measures, focus, the focus would shift into digital. So a lot of incentives would go into that. We have Magic, and I've met Magic before, And a lot of actually programs under Magic, has been, a lot of incentives has been put under Magic and various agencies to help these entrepreneurs. And I think there's not so much of new, challenges and all that. I think we would have almost the same challenges, but we have system in place, we have solution in place, but we need to, to push further in terms of the execution. For instance, the cost of raw materials for certain businesses, this is still a concern. And also forex exchange for businesses, this is the concern. A lot of businesses, I've met few businesses. This one particular business is very interesting on how he actually manage his cash flow, because he really the exposure is really huge for his business. But what he does was he export his product to Japan in US dollars. So in a way, he can balance it out without any hedging and all that. So he lost in terms of forex exchange when he buying all the raw material, but at the same time when he exported or exports to Japan, he can get the return and balance it out and offset the losses that he incurred when he's buying all the raw material. That's one of the solution for entrepreneurs himself. And also the productivity. Productivity, we've been talking for a very long time already. Productivity, I think new measures should be introduced to increase our productivity. We've talked to Dr. Zakaria Abdul Rashid. He is very keen in productivity. He said that our productivity is getting some sort of lower.
Yep.
In that sense, lower, and competitiveness.
So let's hope that all this will be addressed in the upcoming budget 2018. Thank you so much, Najib Aruf, Junior Editor of Astro Awani, to join the show discussing about what to expect from this year's national budget. And that wraps up this episode of Marcus Today. Be sure to send us all your feedback on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Download our app, as you can see, they're available on Google Play and also the Apple App Store. I'm Lukman Haris, Najib Aruf. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.